Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday, and welcome to another episode of Tea and Coffee with Paula and
Jay, it was fascinating to watch what just happened there. Look at her laptop, just watching, a little bit low energy, and then the song ended. Live.
time to begin. Time to get to work.
Actor!
Oh, not really acting. It's just to be awake.
Be present, be awake,
Yes.
enjoy the show. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm all right. A little bit tuckered.
You got little wavy lines on the screen.
Oh,
If you guys
yeah.
can see that closely, the generator's running. but you
OCD
can't-
kicking in here. No,
Not OCD. I just wanted to highlight the generator's running.
Yes.
And it's working.
Yeah. No, it is. It is. But no, everyone can see me just fine. I'm sure it's not a big deal for
Yep.
anyone.
No. Not a complaint, babe. Just highlighting generator's running, and you can't hear it. And she was
Mhm.
looking at the app, and she goes, "Didn't the generator
Yeah.
start running?" Like, yep, right there. There we go.
Yep.
So there's your homestead update because we didn't get much else done yesterday.
No. Well, we're busy doing other things, quite honestly. But yeah, we do. We've got some sun, so we've got to deal with finishing the skirting. You've got to get the diesel heaters installed. Fun stuff for you, my friend.
Fun stuff indeed.
Yes.
Got a couple heaters coming because we actually have a couple plans on how we're going to try and keep things. We got a bunch of diesel. We got that program where we get to get the lower price for diesel for heating.
Yeah, because that's what it is going to be for. We don't have any vehicles, anything like that a diesel run. This is solely for.
Yep. So there is that program. So we're on it now. So we're going to utilize that. And it's far cheaper to heat with diesel than electric. That's for sure.
Yes. And especially when you're off grid, like electric power is like gold. So you got to make sure you use it for the really vital things. And yeah, especially now where oven is electric. A fantastic oven. I love my oven.
Go on, tell everybody how happy you. That was another thing that we had for 2 years before it got installed. we buy the project and we're like, okay, we're going to do that when we get to a point. And if you're like me, you're like, okay, in order to get it done, then you got to work your way backwards to see where you need to get to that point. And it required rewiring the trailer for 50 amps. I had to do a lot of work around that just to do it. I had to fix the floor as we opened it up. And had to remove the hot water tank. Like there was a lot to do just
the
getting
old
that
hot
stove
water
there.
tank. Yeah, exactly. The old hot water tank had to get out of the way. No, I know. I definitely appreciate the fact that it's not just okay. I'm going to do this today. The whole bunch of stuff you got to do beforehand in order to get that project done. Good job getting it done.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you'll get the invoice one day. But yeah, so not much happened other than I was tweaking with the generator start and stop stuff so that we can try and squeeze a little bit more power out and not have the batteries too high during the day because we want solar to fill up the batteries.
Yep.
These are the kind of things that keep us up at night.
Yeah, no, exactly. These are the things. This is the life you live when you have a certain lifestyle. And being off grid, it's like, every watt that goes in is like, okay, how am I going to utilize that? How am I going to save it to make it last as long as possible? So, yeah.
She learned a lot. She's using watts in her language now. She knows. And if you saw that light flicker a little bit behind Paula, some load kicked in, the generator dipped, came back. Generator's on, but you can't hear it.
No.
That was a nice thing. So when you're like, the generator's, this little ear thing, like, is it on? Like, yeah, it's on.
Yeah, no, that was true. So I'm sitting there wondering, okay, we have certain levels that Jason's told me that the generator is going to kick in at. Like, hasn't kicked in yet. So he's now getting ready to go. It's like, by the way, these are the levels. It hasn't started. And then as soon as I'm saying that, like, there it is.
That's a magic word. And so Google's always listening. Like, oh, she's complaining about the generator. Let's use our AI to figure out how to turn that on for her. Kind of like that. And by the way, I had another one of those moments happen where I was on a completely different website. And now I'm getting ads.
Oh, yeah. Always listening. Always listening. That's what I tell the boys.
Always be listening.
Always be listening.
This always be thing is something that came up during our door knocking.
Yeah.
Because always be knocking, always be walking, always be waiting.
Yeah. Always be.
Anyway, so there we go. And today's the first day for council, the new council. Let me go check it out.
Yep.
Apply some pressure. Be there in the crowd.
Yeah.
And,
hold accountable.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask. There was a promise made during the campaigning by both Reeve candidates and, of course, part one. And now I'm going to follow up on that promise and get that ball rolling so that data is accessible through the county website. We can expand on the interactive map. I've already spoke to administration. They basically said, yeah, whatever the council tells us to look into, we're going to. and we'll get back with the cost and all that kind of stuff to do it, and we'll take a look at it. So I'll get that ball rolling.
Yeah, now here's this you may not know, but in your expert opinion, because you know this thing can be done, if they turn around and say, oh, it's going to, especially with the infrastructure already there, if they say, oh, it's going to be like thousands upon thousands to get it done, you could stand up and say, really?
Well, for sure, but we'll have to see. The one thing I do know is they use a contracting company for it, and not necessarily in-house for the GIS system. ARC, probably GIS is what they're using, but they don't have the skills inside. I have those skills. But we'll see where it goes, because we'll get that ball rolling. The first thing is to get the council to agree to look into it, and then they look into it, and then they likely come back to the next council meeting, and bada boom, bada bing. Did you lose something there? No, you're back.
It's fine.
Bada boom, bada bing. To take the next step. But yes, I could actually, talk to it. So if they say, "Oh no, it's going to cost the moon and the stars," I'll be like, "Well, actually, do this." Oh, okay. And that's one of the things I did offer. Entering the government when I was trying to do it with the sort of part of Canada, is, hey, I'm a tech guy, like that Phoenix project that you guys are looking into. I can help there because the contractors can't confuse me.
Yeah,
I know what they're talking about. That's one of the skill sets I do bring is tech.
You have a particular set of skills.
I will find that missing money. Anyways, but that'll be today. So if you're in the Brazeau County area and you want to go check out the meeting, it's at 9 a.m. at the Brazeau County Administrative Office, and I'll be there. I'll be there and apply some pressure. And I'm looking forward to seeing a bunch of friendly faces and Dallas.
Yeah.
I'll keep that comment for the show. But yeah, so the half that council's new, the other half is previous, and we'll see what they're getting to work on. But we'll get into one thing there because they did have a sitting yesterday to fill some positions.
Yes.
And I got one of them.
Yay. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know if I get a parking spot or not or anything like that. No.
Electric parking.
They don't have it. They don't have it. It's Alberta. They really don't have a lot of electric parking. One hotel we go to does.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. There's been, I think there is a charging place in Drayton as well, but it's one of those, it's a paid one, but I think they have it. It's scattered around, but the things are just too far apart, to have full electric vehicles around here, and we get oil.
And there's not many of them.
Yeah.
We have the Volt, which has an extender, range extender, gasoline engine with an alternator, so it does charge itself off of gasoline. So yeah, we never had a problem with running out of juice. But yeah, so that's our update on the homestead.
Yep. Cool. All right, let's get to the news.
I'm gonna see how long I can keep the camera on you before you get uncomfortable. Nope, didn't work. She's cool. All right, let's go ahead and bring in the news because there is a few things, and we do have MLA Eric Bouchard here today. All confirmed, got the link. So this will be a good episode because if you're in Alberta, there's been a lot going on the Alberta provincial level, and Eric will certainly take us through some of it, and we'll see how much we can get through with him because there's a lot going on. But some of it will pop up on this feed today. So yesterday, Bruce Party's episode, you guys loved it. There a whole bunch of people throwing hearts out there, shares out there, and you'll see that even some guy or gal on X kind of did a little recap and posted about it as well. So thanks very much for sharing that, everybody. One of the things here that Mark Nixon highlighted, and he was on the show at one point too. He's a journalist out of BC, I believe. And there's a poll out there, and you'll probably see this all over X yesterday, where the federal vote intention by age shows that 49% support for the Liberals with 60 and over. And that's the largest group for supporting the Liberals. The largest conservative support is with 45 to 59. That's us. We're right in there now.
Yeah.
We're on the low end of that. We're on the lower end of that. You hate it when you have to change the checkbox on these forms for your age range. But there we are. And that's one with the least Liberal support as well. Then it kind of starts to get back towards Liberal when you go down. But the largest group is the 60 and over. And I did a post here. We're up to Alberta Independence Reason number 1782. And this one, there's a huge thread here with a woman by the name of Rose, who I suspect is an NDP provincial supporter, and she is a pensioner. So she gets into a bit of a back and forth, but I think you read it. I think I was respectful and I'm providing her with the information. She seems to have had the CBC version of the story when it came to the pension plan. And then I addressed it. And a couple things that she kept ignoring was Quebec.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, no, the pension plan's for everybody. Well, except for Quebec. And then I had to keep bringing her back to, I'm like, well, that's because they do their own.
Yeah, exactly. Why can't we also accept?
You can't do a pension plan without all this money. If you're a small one, you're going to fail, except Quebec. Like she kept doing that. And I said, well, listen, this is what I'm talking about. Yes, a province can do it. A province like Alberta is very rich and we could actually do quite well. And she even had one pushback that says, well, Alberta's no good at it. AIMCO is horrible. But if you look at the last year of returns, it's 12 point something %, while the CPP is 9. So even that argument fell apart quick. But you look at her profile and it's like anti-Danielle Smith and take down the UCP and all this kind of stuff. It's like, okay. But it was a respectful conversation. Check it out. And it does seem like in the end, she ran out of arguments because she ran out of CBC talking points because I would provide her data. I'd actually provide her the actual information, not opinions. So check it out. But Alberta Independent Reason numbers 1782. Alberta can manage and deliver a stronger, more secure, and more sustainable pension for our seniors. Many seniors continue to assume that the federal Liberal government has provided and will continue to provide a stable, long-term pension. The truth is, Alberta has both the financial strength and the administrative capability to match and exceed the benefits currently offered by Canada, ensuring that every pensioner receives the retirement income that they earned and deserve. We've had Nadine Wellwood on a couple times on this subject. And one of the things she highlights a lot is the CPP, Canadian Pension Plan, is a Ponzi scheme. It's not really a pension because you don't have a value. You're just paid by the contributions from current contributors. And one of the ways she highlights that is when you die, there's no value you can pass on to anybody. It just vanishes. You get $2,500 as a final death payment, and that's it. So if you paid in your entire life, retired at 65, passed away at 65 and a half, everything is just gone.
Erased
from existence. Because that's not an actual pension plan. It uses the term, but it's not a real one. Because what should happen is that's yours.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be paid out later. And if you pass away before it's paid out, you could pass it on to someone else.
Like, well, your spouse or
like any other investment.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be an investment, but it's not. It's a Ponzi scheme. And one of the things that she also highlighted is it's underwater. If it was not for Alberta's overpayments, it probably would have been belly up a while ago. But anyways, go check out the thread with Rose because it actually is. I enjoyed it. I may not agree with her political leanings, but she starts off by saying, as an Alberta senior, I do not, in all caps, want Alberta taking over my pension. It's far safer in a bigger pool with the rest of Canada.
Dun, dun, dun.
So right there, I'm like, CBCer. Okay, so let's go. It was polite. There was no, and she even commented on how good it was to have a respectful, rational conversation on X. And in the end, she stopped responding, but not because she was mad, because CBC didn't equip her with any more arguments. All right, here's a question for everybody. What's the biggest lie in modern history? A lot of people have opinions on this one. I put safe and effective.
Yeah, it's one of them.
It's one of them. Which else would you have?
Oh, was it? I think the time I posted on this was like I put like the Canadian government, the Canadian flag. It's one of the biggest.
Well, one of the ones you did before, it was something you were most. It was a large fraud, and you put a Canadian flag.
I put. Well, no, it was the Canadian government, the Canada with the flag and that symbol. Because that's what I believe at this moment in time.
But go ahead and have your say. Jump on that post, and what do you think is the biggest lie in modern history? We don't have to go back prior to, let's say, the 70s or so. There's a lot of big lies.
Yeah.
But what's the biggest one in modern history? I think currently safe and effective.
Yeah.
Because the repercussions of that one was deadly.
Yeah. Along the same lines, 2 weeks to flatten the curve.
Yeah, that was one of those deflections, right? Everybody get behind that one. then on week 3, people are like, what's going on?
What's going
4,
on?
it
Yep.
took like week 5 or 6 before a lot of people started to push hard on it. But anyways, Probe Media. So that's the one that did a
Yep.
little recap here on the episode with Bruce. I'll go ahead and read it. In a revealing discussion with Tea and Coffee host Jason Levine and Paula Levine, Professor Bruce Party explores a major hurdle in Alberta's path to independence, the Citizens Initiative Act's ban on proposal clashing with both Canada's Charter and Indigenous right. As the Alberta Prosperity Project pushes for a sovereignty vote, Professor Party argues that keeping the old framework defeats the purpose, calling for bold repeals to empower Albertans' real choice. Tune in for the full legal deep dive, our YouTube, and then dig deeper. And it's the article by Bruce. So yeah, do check that out. And there's a whole bunch of things that came out of that one. And by the way, we didn't get any hate.
No.
I was really I was expecting some hate on that one of people going, oh no, he's wrong and blah blah blah. No, so they jumped on him hard for his article. Maybe they were jumping on him hard for the headline of the article. Didn't actually read it because a lot of people don't. I've noticed that too. A lot of people will not read the actual article; they just look at the headline. But after the explanation from him and how we highlighted, it's not just in the Citizens Initiative Act, it's also in the Referendum Act. So if the government did one, there's that limitation there too. Nobody hated it. They just like, oh, well, let's see what happens with the court. Let's see where the court goes with this. Because he's not creating law. He's not creating a hurdle. He's literally saying, look, guys, there's a stick in the mud. And people are like, don't talk about that. And then when we talk about it, it's like, oh, okay. So now how do we deal with this?
Yeah.
And I had a great conversation, can't get in with who, about whether or not we can get to the UCP to address this. The AGM, it may be too late to put it on the agenda for the policy votes. I don't know. There's somebody actually looking into that. But that's not the only chance that UCP members have to provide input to the UCP government. That's where a different person kind of had a misunderstanding on what I was talking about. And I don't want anybody to ever think that the government opens up a little window to hear from you and then closes it, and then that's it. No. Just because there's an AGM, there's going to be policies voted on, doesn't mean that's the only time the UCP will listen to its members. If it's not on the agenda for a policy vote, this needs to be brought up. And if you get enough MLAs, we're going to have one on today, to kind of bring this up, this is another way for the government to go ahead and address it. So if Danielle Smith and Mickey Amory was sincere when they did that press conference and said, let them have their cake and eat it too. Let them have their question and referendum. Well, those are actually two of the main people that can go ahead and snip out that piece of the legislation and make it so. And it doesn't take very long. They just have to make the amendment and vote on it, do a couple readings and get it done. So thanks very much to Probe Media. So go check them out. It's probe_media_. And very appreciative that they took the time to put a little recap there.
And so some of our lies, trust the science.
Trust the science.
Yep, that was from Miles.
Unless you're talking about the ostriches, then they won't trust the science.
And then Crystal, always a goodie here. Biggest lie, that we aren't in an open air prison.
I'm from the government. I'm here to help. There's another one for you. Crystal, we love you. You're awesome. For sure. And as she knows with VISP, we're here to help with the government. Sure you are. Yep. All right, so this Jared Wesley guy, guy, them, I'm not sure. I think it's a guy from Calgary. This is one of these indoctrinated, agenda pushing, narrative dragging people.
Yep.
A couple times it crossed my feed. I don't even know why this stuff crosses my feed, but here it is. I'm in Burlington, Ontario today. Good for you. Popped by neighborhood shoppers to get my COVID-19 shot. Ooh, already we're not friends. Administered by an Ontarian, paid for by the Alberta government. In Edmonton, the shot would have cost me $100 and I'd have to wait weeks. Make this make sense. Well, just for people to know, part of this is, yes, when you are traveling to other provinces, there's a provincial health agreement in place that the costs can be transferred to the other province. And a lot of people are going to BC, taking advantage of this to get the Alberta government to still pay for their shot, even though we don't.
Yeah.
But because of that health agreement, any healthcare you get, the bill does end up there.
Mhm.
So here's a loophole this Jared guy figured out and is utilizing and bragging about. I've never been able to travel to Ontario for under $100. So he spent a lot more money
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
there to do this. But anyways, he's trying to virtue signal a little bit there. So my response to him is, instead of trying to help you make sense of it, could we help you find a place to move to? You like Burlington so much, move there. I think
Mhm.
we should have a prisoner swap with Ontario.
Yes, we know
Yeah.
that some people we would love shipped over
Of
here.
course, Detective Helen Cruz, I'd put her on the list for sure. Bruce Party, there's many. We should do a prisoner swap.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people in Alberta that think, oh, I'm a prisoner of the UCP and I want things like the free COVID shot. By the way, dude, it was the federal government that used to pay for this, and they are the ones that pulled the program and then moved the cost to the provinces, and provinces were kind of forced to choose whether or not they're going to pay for it. Anyways, prisoner swap. We should do it. There's a lot of good people in Ontario that need to get out of there. So here you are for today. We do have a special episode. We just get to the main post.
Yep.
Join Nico Lagan, Nadine Wellwood, Rob Anders, sorry, and me for a live coverage as Mark Carney finally tables his first federal budget. It's going to be today, 2 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Eastern. You can watch it on X, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. My questions are, $100 billion, will it pass? Will the NDP back it? Could this trigger an election? So many questions. But one thing is for certain, Canadians won't be able to afford it.
Yeah, like, do we have 100 billion? Like, do we generate that? Like, where does that money come from?
Uncle Elon, maybe?
Uncle Elon. No, Auntie Alberta.
100 billion is a lot of money. A lot of money. But either case, so today at 2 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Eastern, tune in. We'll be on for about 2 hours. Nadine Wellwood, as I kind of mentioned before, when we're talking about the pension plan, she's a financial person. She understands this stuff quite well. And Rob Anders used to be in that house. So he's an MP, a former MP from Calgary area. And he likes to dig into the government and let us know what's really up. So yeah, join that episode today. It'll be a special for everybody.
Yep.
We also have, here's my little appointment.
Dun, dun, dun.
So Brazeau County yesterday filled a bunch of committees, the boards, for various things. And I put my name forward because I want to assist in any way I can. Go ahead and get more involved to serve my community. And yesterday it was voted and I was added to the, I'll go ahead and read this post. I'm very honored to have been appointed to the Soil, Weed, and Pest Appeals Board today by the new council for Brazeau County. I look forward to serving my community as we address appeals arising from the Weed Control Act, Agricultural Pest Act, and or Soil Conservation Act. And this was unanimous, so thank you to Dallas for putting your hand up on this one. So I'll be called in when there is an appeal to be heard and decided on, and I'm one of 3 on this board. So thank you very much to Brazeau County for accepting my application on this, and I look forward to serving Brazeau. And our good friend right there, Carol Valk, can't wait to see her again this morning. We go back a long time. And there she has put her hand up for me. Thank you very much, Carol. Update from Universal Ostrich Farm from Chris Dacey. This is a sad one. So it starts off talking about how on Thursday they'll get the decision from the Supreme Court. A lot of people are getting themselves prepared for bad news on Thursday. Like, it would be the prayers would be answered if anything but a denial happens, denied the application. But here we are. We're still hoping. Unfortunately, though, yesterday, a gentleman by the name of Tom passed away at the farm. One of the supporters, he was an older gentleman who would show up and then leave and come back. So very active in showing support and helping out. And the details, I think, are listed here, or I received them directly. He was dealing with a small health issue. He was about to go see a dentist about it that morning. He got up, went to the washroom, and didn't make it back to his abode. And the RCMP were there for an hour, CPRing. Lots of emergencies showed up. They really tried. And this is one thing that Chris was highlighting in this post, and when I talked to him last night. very pleased that the RCMP stepped up to do what they could
Mhm.
to try and save this gentleman. And you got to give credit where credit's due. You may not always like what they're doing and or who they're working for or what they're up to.
Neither will they sometimes, I'm sure.
Nope, for sure. Yeah, and that's one thing that Chris highlighted too. Like you
Mm.
can tell that they don't like being there.
Yeah.
But they stepped up and they did what they could to try and save this gentleman. Unfortunately, he did pass. So our thoughts are
Mhm.
with Tom and his family. And it was kind of somber mood there yesterday.
Yeah, it's unfortunate loss of life, but at the end of the day, at least they tried to help, and yeah, sad.
And Katie will be joining us tomorrow morning, so we'll have a conversation with her, and then Thursday morning, while the show's on, the decision should drop. So maybe I don't know. Maybe we'll just do a special. Let's wait for the decision to come down. I may get I haven't booked a guest for Thursday yet. I kind of been keeping that a little bit flexible. So I'll keep you posted on what we do for Thursday morning as this decision comes in. But I do know Katie's not available because that's where I first asked her. But I said if Thursday is going to be too emotional, we can do Wednesday, and she said yes to Wednesday. So stay tuned. I'm going to be maybe David Creighton. I know he works on getting his show ready at the same time that we're on, so that might be difficult, but we'll see.
Yep.
So tomorrow we'll have Katie on. Rest in peace, Tom. David Eby.
I don't know. Ebby.
So he's now posted unfair tariffs imposed on the softwood lumber sector threatens thousands of jobs in BC. We're working with the federal government to expedite supports for the sector. Together, we're going to protect BC workers as we become the engine of Canada's economy. The couple things I want to highlight here. I saw this coming before Carney was even in power, that they were going to create a trade war with the U.S. and then use Canadian money to support the sectors. There was a conversation that got reported to me with Jugmeat when he was still the leader of the NDP, so this was pre-election, with Carney. So after he got the leadership of the Liberal Party, so a little window there from when he got the leadership in the election, there was a meeting there. And I'm told it was a $900 billion conversation about supporting workers like through a UBI type program because of the trade war that was not even in really going at that point. It was kind of just the flickers of it was starting. Here we are now. So the federal government to expedite supports, what that means is send money.
Yeah, of course it is.
That means send money. That doesn't mean fix the trade war or anything like that. It just means send money. And this is one of the ways I think Carney is going to usher Canadians into a universal basic income.
Normalize it in small areas.
Right.
Well, not very small
It's
areas.
like, oh, well, this sector, then this sector, and eventually it's going to be everybody. And universal basic income is the death nail to our sovereignty as a nation, because it's going to bankrupt us, put us under the International Monetary Fund because we're going to bail out loans. And then they're going to control our resources and our taxes and even some of our laws. Just look at Greece. We went through this already. We listed off all the things that happened in Greece when the IMF got involved, when they defaulted on loans and were going bankrupt and got bailed out.
Yeah, this is a comment here from in Locals because they were talking about stuff. So, such an obvious strategy Jason pointed out about IMF in Greece not that long ago. Put him in unsustainable debt and then call in the loan and buy him for pennies on the dollar.
It sucks. It sucks bad. And here we are. The premier of BC are saying, hey, send us a big bailout money. And this is exactly the beginning of the end for that. I poke fun at him, though, because he threatened to start doing ads. He was going to do some of these tariff ads just like Ontario. I thought you were going to run TV ads in the U.S. Did you get cold feet? I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess when Carney apologized, everybody kind of put the brakes on their plans there.
He tucked his elbows away.
Did he ever? He got elbow pads on now.
Yeah.
But we see our guest is there. We'll jump on in a moment with him because this is actually one more thing that kind of came up this morning. So there's the left, unions. It's not teachers doing this. I suspect there's an organized group. Obviously, there's a website to go ahead and start recalling a bunch of UCP MLAs. And actually, Eric's on this list. He's not on the list as initial paperwork started or anything like that, but they're targeting all 44 MLAs who voted to put the students back into the classrooms. So there's an organized group here that are putting this together. There's already 2 that have been approved that are in collecting signatures stage right now. And Jack listed here, and we like Jack a lot. He's a good guy. The radical left are literally targeting conservative MLAs in Alberta. It literally says targeted next to their names. I thought overthrowing a government was called treason. No, Jack, sorry. Gotta kind of look, we don't have to like everything, and we don't have to like the system, but let's call a spade a spade. First thing I ask is, does anyone know if Lusakic is part of this? Because right now I don't see his name on it, but it certainly feels like something that he would participate in. And then, sorry, Jack, this would not be treason. It would be called a democratic coup, as overthrowing a government is called a coup, and doing it via legal recall would be democratic. Just like long ballot, technically, this is all legal. Not a fan. I consider this an abuse of the system, just like the long ballot is. It's meant to confuse. It's meant to do not favorable things, but it's legal. So if they get the signatures, there is a process. This is not a armed coup. This is not anything like that. I don't like it. I don't think this is the intention of recall, but hey, that's the law. So they're going to be going through it. And with that said, let's go ahead and bring on our guest of the day. And finally, I'm really pleased to have him. Good morning, Mr. Eric Bouchard.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. So how are you been? It's been quite the week for you. We have originally had you penciled in with a number 2 pencil for last Wednesday because we're talking about the teacher stuff. And then here we are. We got you this week. So thanks for joining us.
Number 2 pencil with a large eraser, because things are shifting on a daily, almost on an hourly basis. No, I just got a couple alerts this morning that I'm on that recall list as well, but it hasn't kicked in yet. But
it looks like they're going through certain ones, maybe where it was a tight election or something like that, or where they think they got a lot more support. But yeah, you are on the list along with 43 other people, including Premier Daniel Smith.
Yeah, and I think we have to obviously take it seriously. I had a group out. We went door knocking this past Saturday. We try to door knock every second Saturday. We halted it for the municipal election, and went back out this past Saturday with a group for a couple hours just to talk to people. And it's heated. However, I'm still of the opinion, we've had a saying in Calgary Lougheed since the beginning that we win people over one conversation at a time. And I don't know any different. So I'm going to just keep talking to people one at a time. And when you talk to people where they are, you might not always agree, but I think you earn the respect, and you can agree to disagree. And hopefully it, generally, particularly the emails that I get, the most heated ones, when I do talk to them, the tone is different. Granted, there's a few that stay heated, but those are fewer and further between, because when you talk to people, you realize that generally we're not that different. We're not that far off.
And I agree with you. It was a tough decision, I know, but I think it was necessary. Like, I know that you guys, as a government, was working hard to get an agreement in place to put the students back in. I know you tried to avoid it because nobody really wants students outside of the classroom. I think that's a common agreement amongst parents, teachers, and even people who are not, in the system right now. Can you share with us, kind of the lead up to it? Did you guys have a meeting? Did you guys talk about what the outcome's going to be, maybe some of the fallout, and kind of take us through the process of making the decision to go ahead and invoke the notwithstanding clause?
Sure. Yeah, we had a couple meetings. We meet every week for 3 hours, caucus meetings. Cabinet has another meeting, I believe, the day before caucus meets. We talked it out. Lots of different opinions, but at the end of the day, as a party, we felt, when you're weighing out all the options, children needed to be in schools, period, the end. Regardless, it maybe, notwithstanding clause, the reality was that had we not done that, who knows when kids would be back in school, and we needed kids back. We've learned with 2 years of on again, off again education that it doesn't work, obviously. So let's get kids back into school. And it was a long, long day last Monday, and some people certainly didn't like the outcome. However, children are back in school and teachers are teaching, and I've gotten a lot of support as well, which is, I guess, typically most people send an email or make a phone call when they're not happy. But this one, there's been, a groundswell of support that they are thankful that we did what we did. So I'm glad that kids are back in school.
Yeah, you highlight something that we talk about the show a lot. There's a complaint department. There's rarely a thank you department. We normally hear when people are upset. That's when you hear them the most. But yeah, I've seen a lot of support, and there's a lot of quiet support too before you guys did this from teachers who wanted to get back in the classroom. They worked hard to be in front of students. They didn't like the idea of not being there. So there was a lot of quiet support that was before, but certainly a lot of loud support against it. Did you think it would lead all the way to, they started recall against the Minister of Education now? I
didn't. I think, it's they certainly can do that, but it's also, we were all elected democratically to make decisions like this, whether you like them or you don't like them. If you don't like the outcome, show up and vote the next election. You can affect change by getting out there, by being part of a CA, being part of a party, and affect change. If this is what they want to do because they don't like the outcome of a vote, I don't know where it leads, but I think the threshold is quite high, but it's certainly something we need to look into a little more.
Yeah, we'll jump into the recall stuff in just a bit because it's the legal process, and it's not treasonous. Like if they get the signatures, there's a process, and it doesn't mean necessarily that this person's going to be fully removed. Like it goes vacant, and then there's an election, and they can be voted back in. And yes, the threshold is high on purpose because it shouldn't be abused. But this is a legal process, and if they're successful, then the next step will kick in. I don't know if this will trigger an election. I don't know if that's on the table at this stage, but there's two that have been approved right now for signature collection. Mm-hmm. So Elections Alberta has approved two of them, and it looks like on this website they're very organized. I don't know where the money's coming from. Like maybe there might be some violations there. I'm not sure what the rules are around financing this kind of stuff, but they're very organized, and they do seem to have some money behind this. I don't want to jump into that one too much because it's all pretty fresh. What I want to now kind of focus on is the AGM. So the AGM is coming up at the end of this month. Do you know if the list of policy questions has been released? Because I looked into it yesterday and I didn't see anything yet.
I think it's coming out later this week. It hasn't been released yet because I looked yesterday as well. But no, I'm looking forward to the AGM. We've had... I look at the last few years. We're not going to get the numbers we had last year. I think we were just over 6,000. Last I saw, we were about 3,600 attending this year. But there's no leadership review. We've got a couple years before a general election, so there's a little less interest, I suppose. But no, it's going to be a fun weekend. And we're hosting our third town hall, the Cowtown Showdown, this coming Monday down in Calgary Lougheed, where anyone who's vying for a seat on the board, as well as president, can come make their case, and looking forward to it.
Actually, I'm looking forward to that one as well. I've got Daryl booked for Monday, so before that, you'll be on the show on Monday, and that's Daryl Comic, who's running for president, and he's your CA president, isn't he?
He is, yes. Yeah, we met. It's pretty amazing. We've known each other for less than 4 years. We got together. I think there was 7 of us one week who, some small business owners, some concerned citizens, and what he's accomplished over the last 3.5 or so years. From we had nothing, not that we had nothing, but we started out, it wasn't a political movement at all. It was just some concerned citizens, some small business owners. It's grown into a very large group that worked really hard to get me elected. I think within our small group, we have presidents on five CA boards and 38 people who sit on boards across South Calgary. So no, Daryl, I'm excited for him. He's he wears it on his sleeve, and his heart's in the right place.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned wearing it on his sleeve, because he's usually in a Hawaiian shirt, so you can't miss him. So you know who he is when you see him. And yeah, we've crossed paths many times. Events like Injection for Truth. I think he even helped out with an event in Drayton Valley that I hosted with the APP. I think he just helped with the questions. But yeah, he's very active, and he definitely wants to get out there and make some change. So obviously, being your president, you're likely going to support him going forward. What is the role of the UCP president, and what is it that they need to do for the rest of the party?
Yeah, well, I think, Daryl certainly has my support, and that's no knock on Rob Smith. Rob Smith has been great for the last 2 years. So, and either way, you know, we have a win. We have two great people who've put their names forward to run again. Role of president is, I think, the liaison between government and caucus, and representing the party. You know, doing the things that are required, making sure our constituency associations are involved, raising money, helping find good nominees, and running good campaigns, and positioning ourselves to win the next election.
Fantastic. And also address what's happening. So a lot of people kind of think of the UCP party as the government. That's not really the case. The UCP party provides the people that end up becoming government through election. So because Danielle and the rest are members of the party and represent the party, it's not UCP itself that runs the government, not the party portion. It's individuals in government that run it. So there is a separation there. Am I correct on that?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, we, and even myself as a private member, technically I'm not government. That falls on the premier and cabinet, but certainly I have a say and a seat at the table. But I'm, once again, only one vote, and I listen, I go out and speak with all my constituents, but we have a very active constituency association board of 30 members, and I'm responsible to them. You know, I listen to them, and we talk things out. We don't always agree, but I'm really proud and happy that Calgary Lougheed is a very active CA and leads by example. And I think part of that, you know, with both Daryl and I's small business background, that we don't sit around and wait to necessarily be told what to do, or have 5 meetings to decide on something. We just go out and do it, and sometimes rightly or wrongly, but we learn from our mistakes and move forward.
Well, I like that go-getter attitude. You must have some entrepreneur blood still in you, because that's kind of the requirement if you want to be an entrepreneur. Very rarely does an entrepreneur sit there waiting for permission or the doors to be opened for them. They go do the knocking and get things done.
Yeah, so, you can't. You sit around and you're dead.
100%. And it's like George Bush said, I wish the French had a word for entrepreneur.
Love it. Love it.
Remember that quote? Awesome. Yeah, he was awesome. He gave us some of the best one-liners ever.
Bushisms.
Little W or whatever he was. Getting into how does things become law? Okay, so at the AGM, we kind of referred to this list of policy questions that are going to be coming up and be voted on. So can you kind of take some of the people through, how does that list get created? Like, they're submitted, voted, selected. Did somebody put a hat in the middle of the table and just start pulling out things that will make it? How does that process happen? And then once things are voted on, what is the next step? Are they binding? Do they have to be done? Is it a decision by the government? Let's take people through the policy procedure.
Sure. Well, I guess the easiest way is, and I've, newer to government over the last couple of years, and have learned that, policies that hit the floor and get voted on at the AGM, even if they're passed, they're not necessary. It doesn't mean that they're adopted, and then that's up to our government to take them back and decide on them. And we can really, decide if we want to put them forward. And it's, I look at the town halls that we've hosted too. We've got now 3 bills protecting children, And one of our first town halls was let kids be kids. So now we've got three bills on that we voted on and passed in the spring that that are protecting children now. We had two town halls injections of truth. We're not where I'd like to be yet, but we're charging $100 for any healthy person to get a COVID shot now. To me, I look at those as those are some pretty big wins.
Yeah, and you got to look at it kind of like recommendations from the membership and steering or guiding the government, but ultimately the government then needs to make a decision of, well, what can we implement? What will be the not the political cost, but the cost to Albertans to implement? Like if we all said, let's give everybody gold and silver, let's pass it. Oh, look at that, 91% support for that. Let's go ahead and do it. It'd be like, nah, well, actually, thanks for the suggestion, but we can't do that. Are there any policies, you kind of hinted at the injection of truth stuff and the COVID stuff, other than that, because obviously you've been working hard on that. Are there any other policies that you're hoping makes the list this time around?
Yeah, to be honest, I have not had a chance to look at them very, very deeply, so I can't really comment on anything right now.
Okay, no, fair enough.
Yep.
We'll take that as I haven't looked into it, so good enough.
Yeah.
This particular one, like you mentioned, doesn't have a leadership review, but there's still going to be 3,602 because we're going to be there. People showing up on that one. What are you expecting to see there? Because I know that there's some workshops and stuff like that. So what are some of the things that people can expect when they go?
Yeah, I think there's some workshops. There's there's going to be a large youth group. There's a youth debate as well. I think it's going to be a great time just for, getting our big tent together and people, from across the province meeting and getting reacquainted with each other. We all live busy lives, and this is going to be a weekend where, we can come together, break bread, sit down, talk, maybe go out for a drink, and just enjoy each other's company.
Will Danielle be giving, or Premier Smith be giving a keynote or a speech or anything like that?
I would imagine so. I have not seen the what it's going to look like, but I would imagine so.
Yeah, me too. I'm being kind of refreshing that page to see what's going on. Like Sunday, I'm not even sure what's happening on Sunday yet, but we'll be paying attention to that. Okay, cool. So now we went through policies, how they kind of become law. Let's talk about how can something be modified? So yesterday we had Bruce Party on. We were talking about the sovereignty movement. We were talking about the Citizens Initiative Act and also the Referendum Act. And he highlighted in there that there's a section. So in the Citizens Initiative Act, it's section 2 sub 4, which says no referendum can contravene the charter, basically. So sections 1 through 35.1 of the charter. He sees that as a problem, especially if it's going to be separation is the question under the Clarity Act. How do we get the government's attention to maybe amend or modify current legislation to address something? Is there a process to bring that forward outside of the AGM? Good
question. I don't know the answer to that. I would imagine by going through your constituency associations, by advocating with those who are on the board, the executive, and getting it to your MLA and working up the chain that way. Otherwise, I don't know if there's a mechanism outside of that.
Yeah, because that's what I was chatting with our audience this morning, was if it's not one of the policy questions that are going to make the list, and it likely won't because it was kind of recently just brought up, so it likely didn't make it to that process yet. Is there another way to get the attention of the government? And the answer is go through your CAs, write to your MLAs, and via you guys, you could bring this up the chain, and government at any time can decide to go ahead and draft something. Can individual MLAs, like in the House of Commons, provide private member bills that recommend changes to legislation?
I suppose you could with the private member bills, because there's so few, and they're done by lottery system. I have yet to have one, so it would be, and I don't have anything in the queue at this time. But if if you have an MLA who has a private member bill coming forward, I suppose you could reach out to them and see if they would be willing to put that forward.
Okay, there you go. And is that something that's published, or do we just have to reach out to say, well, who's on the list and when are they coming up with this opportunity to bring forward private member bills?
Yeah, I would imagine it would be published. Maybe one of your listeners might know a little bit more, and I apologize for not knowing the deep into the. I don't necessarily know, but maybe one of your listeners would know and can send something in.
No, fair enough. And yeah, here's the beauty about this particular show. We never send pre-questions, and nobody asks what's coming up. Even when I had Danielle Smith as a guest, she didn't ask, like, what are you going to talk to me about? It's just whatever comes up, comes up. So
I love it.
Yeah. And you're not prepared because you didn't know I was going to ask a question. So there you go. And you're also not AI. If you're AI, you probably would have the answer. You're a real man. Yeah. Okay. So obviously you're going to be at the AGM. Are we expecting all MLAs to be there? Or is there some that just can't make it this year that you're aware of?
I'm not aware of anyone not attending. I think we had everyone in attendance last year. I think there was one member who couldn't be there on the Friday, but was there on the Saturday. I haven't heard of anyone who's not attending. I would imagine it's going to be very, very well attended.
Yeah, I enjoyed last year's because you guys mingled. Everybody was around. You could walk right up to Mickey Emery and say, hey, how are you doing? And can we talk about this, that, and the other? And he would answer you. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing you there.
No, likewise. No, I think that is one of the coolest things. It's the one time a year where you get to mingle with everyone, whether it's Mickey Amory, whether it's, education minister, or just a lowly private member like myself. I'm looking forward to it.
I love how you keep referring to yourself as a lowly private member. You're more than that, my friend. You're elected and you're brought forward by your constituency to represent, and you're doing a great job. I know that when you're a councillor, when you get voted in, so this is municipal level, you can actually have special projects, something that you're concerned about and that you're going to bring forward as part of your mandate for your term. Do you go through that as well? I'm asking a lot of questions because who knows where I'm in the future? Maybe.
Oh, amazing! Yeah. No, and to be honest,
do you get to bring forward a project or something when you start?
Yeah. So there's it's taken me a couple years, I think. Coming into this, not really knowing the political scene I guess the inside in particular of, the learning curve was steep in the beginning to, from coming into the legislature, knowing when to sit, when to stand, what to say, when to say it, who to acknowledge, who to bow to, all of these little nuance things that you don't know. And then, the information is coming at you every which way. It's taken me a couple years to really feel like I have an understanding, and then, to go out and look for projects, depending on what your constituents are bringing forward. I've been happy working with my background, small business background. I've just started working with the Parliamentary Secretary of Small Business, Tanny Yao, from Fort McMurray Wood, Buffalo, and we've got some work to work ahead of us to really advocate for small businesses across the province, because it's tough times out there for small business owners. So looking forward to hopefully changing things and making things better for the small businesses around the province.
Oh, you're awesome. And yeah, I can imagine the learning curve is steep. It's like when to stand, when not to stand. You at least don't have to salute or anything like that, but
no salutes. There is a bow. You got to bow the speaker when you leave.
Cool. Now, when they have honorable in front of their name, how do you get that title? What happens in order to get that? Did you just tell the truth one day, or is there an actual process?
Honorable. I think anyone who is elected when you're in the House, you're referred to as honorable. However, when you're outside, honorable only falls on to ministers.
Got it. So when you become a minister of something, then you get the honorable tag. Because I went through that list of 44, and the premier had premier, but some of them had honorable and some of them did not. So I was curious to share with the audience, how does one become, bestowed with that.
Yeah, and then
title.
here's I guess a little bit of a distinction. Like we're all referred to, like the speaker will refer to the honorable member, but won't refer to you as the honorable member from Calgary Lougheed. So you're honorable member, but then if you're a minister, you'd be the honorable minister from so and so, whatever constituency you're from.
Got it. And as an MLA, you actually have the unique position of having to, well, not having, you probably enjoy working with the municipal level and the federal level. So you're like the in between there too. So you actually have to work and partner with both sides of the rest of the government. How's that been like for you? Has there been a lot of learning curve there as well? And are there any special terms you have to use with the federal government?
No special terms with the federal government. Our member member of parliament is a conservative, so he's not government. Shuv Majumdar, and then our city councillor. The overlap is Councillor Dan McLean. The three of us have a great relationship, really good working relationship. Happy Dan got back in as city councillor, and yeah, we're looking forward. There's not a ton of overlap, particularly this time of year. Like we see each other and get together throughout the barbecue circuit in the summertime. But now with Shuv in Ottawa, me up in Edmonton, and Dan back at City Council, we probably won't really touch base unless we run into each other at an event, in Calgary over the weekend, or most likely over the Christmas holidays.
Very cool. And clearly there's Alberta beef at those barbecues, I would expect. A lot of it.
Of course, yeah.
Sure. Now, how did you get into politics? Because you said you're not a politician. You had to learn a bunch of it. You're a small business guy. How did you get into it? Did somebody say, hey, let's get Eric in? Or did Eric say one day, I want to see some change and get more involved?
It was more of the former, the first part of it. So we had, as I mentioned earlier, Daryl and I sent out an email in the fall of 2021 to 26 business owners that I knew, saying that I didn't know exactly what I was looking for, but my business was forced to close due to mandates, and I was frustrated. I was angry. Reached out to some small business owners. One of them said, "Hey, I get what you're saying. I think I know someone who you might be interested in speaking with," and that was Daryl. So Daryl and I got together the following day. The following week, we got together with 7 of us. The following week was 16 of us, and a year later, Jason Kenney's seat was vacant, and we were. There was someone who was interested in running, and then they decided not to. And I had come to our group when we got together, and I was scouring the room to see who would be a good option to step in and fill and run in the open nomination. And I was talking to one of the guys, and I said, "Who do you think?" And he said, "Well, what about you?" And my honest answer was, "F no, I'm not a politician." And he said, "Exactly." And we
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And we talked about it a little bit. We got together for lunch a few days later, and this was just before the Christmas holidays. So I said, let me talk to my wife and my kids and see what they have to say. And actually that night I went home and told my wife, and she said, "Well, that's not the craziest thing I've ever heard." And I thought, well, I wasn't expecting that answer. And then, talked to my kids over the Christmas holidays and decided to, if not me, who else? Why not give it a try and put my name forward? And we went out. There was 5 of us in a nomination, through the nomination process. I clearly wasn't the candidate of choice, but we had a tremendous group of volunteers that we door knocked every day. We got together, we talked to people, and then in March of 23, I won the nomination, and then in May won the election.
Fantastic. And is there multiple rounds for the nomination? Like they narrow it down and do anything like that, or is it just first past the post?
No, so it was what's the term? So the percentage, I forget the term of it, where I won on the 3rd ballot.
Okay, so each
Mhm.
round,
Yeah.
each ballot, someone was eliminated,
Someone
then there's
drops
another
out.
vote.
Correct. Yeah, till you get a threshold of I think 50 plus 1%.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they do want to have a majority support for it, not like what we see in the actual election, 35% and you're in, like you can win. It
Correct.
depends how many people are running against you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're getting close to wrapping
Yeah.
up here. I do want to jump back into that recall thing because it's pretty fresh that's happening here. Do you support movements like this when they go after 44 people because they don't like a particular vote? Or do you think there should be something put in place to kind of stop these kind of things? I know it's a tough question, and you didn't get asked this, so it's a tough one. But your instinct, like, what does it feel
Yeah.
like to you? Is this
It
legit
doesn't.
or?
Well, it doesn't feel good, and particularly, when you're on the other end of the, you're looking into the barrel of the gun. It doesn't feel good. But hey, if that's their democratic right. If they feel that they can do that, there's no legislation. There's nothing preventing them from doing it. It just it's a little. What I don't like about it is the fact that it's um, just because you lost an election and you don't like the way a vote went down, is that now it's kind of like sour grapes, but it is that's the democratic process, I suppose, and I think the threshold is high for a reason. Um, and I don't, yeah, I don't know if I'd be comfortable putting in um, anything that would prevent this from happening.
Yeah, that's my instinct
Mhm.
as well. Yes, it's a democratic process. It's in there
Yeah.
now. It's there for a reason. And if you try to stop it, I think that would be undemocratic. I
Oh,
don't
I
think they're going to be successful.
No, I don't think so either. It's certainly uncomfortable because no one likes to be, even threatened with recall. However, that is their right, and I wouldn't like the idea of government intervening and saying no, you can't do that. If you want to get together and you meet that threshold, well, so be it. But then, I mean, that's a conversation that maybe if there were recalls that were successful, well, it could be looked at again. But it's no one. I can understand if someone was, they were found guilty, they were charged and found guilty of some sort of crime where they did something that we could all agree, well, they should be kicked out or should be voted out. But this, I don't think meets that threshold.
And maybe what they're about to learn is the democratic process won't provide it to them. It's not disallow it. They just won't get
Yeah,
the signature.
Mm.
for
And
sure.
the
Yeah.
first, yeah, and at that stage, they probably will just give up because I think they're targeting what they believe are the low hanging fruit, Minister of Education. And if they can't get that one done, they should just drop this effort.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
they'll be successful.
No, go through the exercise, I suppose. I'm not going to get in your way. I don't like it, but it's your right to do so.
Yep. Okay. I'm on the same page on that one because this is part of the system. Okay. And
Of
it is
course. Yeah.
democratic. It's not treason, but it's a democratic coup, I call it, because it
Yeah.
is an attempt to remove government, but they're doing it the legal way.
Oh
So
yeah, and I've had some of my supporters suggest that, well, maybe we recall some of those who are sitting in
Mhm.
those that they just won by 25, 40 votes. And I don't want to get into that tit for tat.
Yeah.
But hey, if someone wants to put that forward, I'm not gonna step in their way either.
Yeah, no, true. And I've heard comments like that too, personally and online. Like, hey, look, here's the ones we can go after for them and recall them. I'm like, "Ugh, that
Yeah,
just
we
feels
have
wrong.
yeah.
It's kind of like the impeachment down in the States. They tried it twice, they failed, and maybe they'll stop now. Let's let them fail. I
Yeah.
don't think they're going to
Oh
be
yeah. And
successful.
there's so many issues. Our world is so polarized right now. Like there's other things that are pressing, and let's figure out and try to, figure out how to bridge some of the divide we have.
Agreed. And I
Yeah.
think if you take the higher road, that next election, you're actually going to pick up support because there would be a lot of people that didn't like what they were trying to do and then support you in the next election. So let's just play out. This is the democracy, not necessarily at its finest, but it's certainly functioning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's certainly messy and not at its finest, like you said. But I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Excellent. So, Eric, if we can squeeze 5 more minutes, we're
Yeah.
just going to say goodbye to the public and jump into our private area.
Sure.
I do have a couple more questions that I couldn't squeeze in, but if I can squeeze 5 minutes out of you, I wouldn't be a wannabe politician if I couldn't get some more of your time from you.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so hang on for a second. We're just going to say goodbye.
Sure. Okay.
Great. There you are, public. We have a MLA, a sitting MLA, hanging out with us. Very open, honest. And again, our format is we don't provide questions. So a couple of things he couldn't provide us because he's not an actual, lifelong politician.
Yeah. Not
And
a
that's
politician.
I knew that was coming when he said, I'm not a politician. Exactly.
Yes.
That's why we want you in there. We don't want these professionals in there. We want actual people, common folk that knows what's right and wrong.
Yeah.
He's definitely one of the good ones for sure.
Yeah, no, it was good conversation was had, good conversations in the chat, and yes, but for everyone, I will see you tomorrow morning.
And I'll see you soon. If you're going to the Brazeau County meeting, I'll be there. And then this is why we're going to go wrap up pretty quick here for you all, because I got to get into the car and get there.
Oh, and 2 p.m. today.
2 p.m. Check out the budget's coming out. So we're doing that special episode with Nico, Nadine, and Rob. So check it out as we see what happens. Is this the beginning of an election on the federal level? NDP support it. Is it 100 billion? We're going to find out this afternoon, 2 p.m. See you all then.
Bye.
Take care. God bless.